Walker, are we live? Can't hear anything. Welcome to the SicEm365 and osoletter.com postgame show. I'm Matt Wilson filling in for David Smoke. Baylor travels to Ames, Iowa and falls 43-21 in a game that started off with many good moments and some enthusiasm and some optimism for a lot of fans, including myself. And then it turned. A blocked punt for a touchdown leading into the half. All leading up well, just like Baylor's prospects this evening. We started off pretty good, suddenly went bad. Welcome back to the SicEm365 post-game show, brought to you by osoletter.com. Again, 542 offensive yards for Iowa State in a game that turned on a number of, call it whatever you'd like, unlucky bad breaks, but also just play that wasn't good enough from this Baylor team. Sawyer Robertson showed a ton of good flashes, 3 touchdowns in an overall very strong game. But Baylor as a team did not do enough defensively or offensively, for that matter, to get it done. Apologize for the snafu there with the stream. Let me get my stats back up here. But if you are in the chat, throw a comment in there. And if it's something other than a call for somebody's job or a cuss word, we might read it out here. This team, Samuel Austin says, this team is not nearly as bad as last year, but not good enough. 2-4 is not good enough. From an overall perspective, I think that is correct. I do believe that is correct. One moment here, guys. My apologies. All right. So, Sawyer Robertson, 25 of 44 for 258 yards and 3 touchdowns. You look at that on paper, that should be good enough to win you the ball game. Unfortunately, Baylor as a team rushed 20 times for 79 yards. 24 of those were on Sawyer Robertson scrambles. 8 yards for 28 from Bryson Washington before he was injured, by the way. Dawson Pendergrass, 9 for 27. It's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done. Baylor scores on 3 separate drives through the first 3 quarters. Iowa State had 9 drives and scored on 7 of those. One of them being the very first drive of the game where they did not score. The other drive where they did not score was the interception at the very end of the half. That's not acceptable from a defensive side of the ball. You have to do better than that. If you're not going to have an offense that can put up 35 a game, allowing 500 and some odd yards per game is going to be it's going to be a problem. If we have any callers, we'd love to hear from you. I think we put the link in the chat. I don't have a ton else to say other than, the defense had flashes as they typically do. The offense had flashes as they typically do. But whenever this team needed a play in a critical situation later in the game, it was either too late or not enough. So, highlights from the Iowa State side: Rocco Beck, 16 for 25, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Jackson and Carson Hansen, not Abu Sama, leading the way on the ground for the Cyclones. Overall, 265 yards on the ground for Iowa State. Jaden Higgins, though, through the air, was masterful. 8 catches for 116 yards. And, relatively clean game for Baylor from a turnover perspective. The one bad interception in the back of the end zone where Robertson probably could have just run it to get the first down. I believe it was 4th and 2. The team just wasn't good enough. Just wasn't good enough. Let's take an ad break right here. Then I want to hear from a couple of you, and we'll see what you have to say. So, Walker, if you don't mind taking us to break, and we'll take a couple calls. SicEm365 post-game show. I am Matt Wilson, taking the seat for David Smoke tonight. Again, Baylor falls to Iowa State in Ames, 43-21. I think we have some callers lined up. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Matt in DC, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Thanks for taking my call tonight. I really appreciate the post game calling show. Well, I will just have to say, and this is going to sound kind of weird. Watching the game tonight, I think this was the best game I've actually seen Baylor play all year. I mean, yes, we lost by almost 20 points, if not more. But from start to finish, I think we played hard. We played fast. We played a complete game, and in the end, Iowa State just made plays and got us. And they just beat us.
Matt, can I pause you right there?
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to let that slide. It's a disappointing evening, absolutely as a whole. But I don't want it to be lost that the first half of this game was the best half that this team has played all season. The second half, different story. I'm trying to move past my own frustration to be as objective as possible about this, but I'll let you continue. No,
you're absolutely right with the second half. We started the second half, took the lead, and then it was like a couple bad plays, like that 4th and 2 where Sawyer's trying to force to the end zone, couldn't run it right. I'm not gonna, roast the guy on that because I always want a quarterback. If he sees it, if you see it, throw it. Always. He'll learn from that, but it's like he's trying to do everything. He just has to win. But from start to finish, they played hard. Eventually, they got worn down, because we just couldn't stop Iowa State, and Iowa State just took us out. But overall, I wish we just had played this hard from the beginning to end against BYU last week and Colorado, and then those could be possible wins. So I just shout out to them just playing as hard as they could until it was just basically over, and Iowa State got us. They're just a better team this year. To my next point for the night, and this is killing me right now because I would like to ask you, what's better for this program? Is it better that Baylor football keeps? Is it better for us to win out, or is it better for us to lose the rest of the games and eventually, because the inevitable, I think Aranda's going to be let go at the end of the year. I'm never going to cheer for Baylor to lose a game, but I'm just like, is it better we just lose out?
I understand your question.
Yeah,
I understand your question. But
yeah,
the path that forces this program to move to new leadership, or the path that gives us hope for this leadership,
right,
in years to come. My own personal opinion, my bias is always going to be with the individuals that are in place that have demonstrated the ability to lead this program to success, right? If you do it the right way, right? If you can lead this program to success, and we have evidence of that, I am usually a proponent of continuing that leadership and tweaking what needs to be tweaked around it, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that being said, this is sports. The reason we love sports is because it is the ultimate meritocracy, right? It is the most results-based business, and I do say business because it is. It is a results-based business. And it does not matter how much I or how much other members of the fan base or members of the media like Dave Aranda or this staff as people or as coaches even. It is a results-based business. The results are tough right now. Now, you can take a different magnifying lens to those results, right? You can go extremely micro and say, yes, at times there was extreme success in this game. This team started fast for the first time in a while, right? Which was a fantastic surprise considering it was in Ames, Iowa. Not a lot of Baylor games have started like that for Baylor in Iowa, right?
Absolutely.
You zoom out, and if you said, hey, we'll win a Big 12 championship over the course of 4 years, in that context, it looks fine. We're in the middle of a section of this program's or this leadership team's tenure that is not good.
Right.
It's not good. And no matter how you slice it, 75% of this program for the last 4 years has not been good.
You're right.
So take that for what you will. Contextualize it, like many are saying in the chat right now. Contextualize it with the beginning of this schedule has turned out to be more difficult than I thought it would be, right? Colorado looks way better than I expected them to be. Iowa State, their offense looks way better than I expected it to be. BYU has surprised the entire country, right? Is that an excuse for coming out completely flat against BYU? Is that an excuse for not having the right or a good or a better end of game strategy in place for Colorado? Is that an excuse for not having the protection right or scheme differently for the punt in the second quarter? Probably not. I'm not smart enough to say personally, but the situation is what it is right now. Objectively, this team is 2-4. And a bowl game is a stretch at this point, just mathematically. A bowl game is a stretch this morning, at this point. This morning, this game has me completely turned around. And speaking of turning around, the secondary, giving up 277 yards. Look, this is a good Iowa State passing attack. A lot of people have not watched a lot of Iowa State football. Those who have understand that this is a good passing attack from Iowa State. But with the number of penalties and the number of times that Iowa State was just able to get it done in high leverage situations, it's just not good enough.
Yep.
Matt, thank you. I appreciate the call. Did you have anything else? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just appreciate the post-game call-in, and I just want to give a shout-out to my brother, T-Rex, who, he drove 11 hours up to Ames, Iowa Friday night and hosted a Baylor tailgate. And, he was standing there alone, doing his thing. So, and for anyone, like I always say, like, I challenge every Baylor fan. I ask every Baylor fan, just pick one road game a year and go have fun. Like, regardless of the record, regardless of the team, just pick one road game a year and just go have fun. And road games are a blast. Please meet us out there, and we'll see you on Morgantown. Thank you.
And another option there in Houston as well.
Absolutely.
I completely agree. Matt, that's a great sentiment. Road games are a blast. I do support that.
Thank you.
That call to action there.
Good night.
All right. Walker, I don't know if we have anybody else on the line. Otherwise, not a lot else to say about this game other than allowing your opponent to score on 7 out of the 9 drives is not a trend you want to be on the Baylor side of, at least for this evening. All right. Well, I don't think there's anybody else on the line at the moment. So in that case, Baylor 21, Iowa State 43. Sawyer Robertson did everything that he could. This team did everything they could. On offense, just was not enough. This is Matt Wilson signing off for the 365 post-game show. Appreciate you guys joining. Go hit up osoletter.com if you have a chance. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks as Baylor is on a bye next week. SicEm Bears.